Okay, today I'm going to start working on making changes to this stand here. I want to leave the top rack where it is, and I need to take this level and lower it. And then I'll leave the bottom level there for support, but remove those two tanks and bring them up. And I thought about this a lot, and I would like to do it and not take these two top tanks down, and I think I can do that because, number one, the back of this stand is deeper than both aquariums that are going on the front, which means I can leave these vertical supports in there. And I can also leave this back horizontal support to stabilize it. That doesn't have to change. What will change is I need to be able to support this front side so that this doesn't collapse when I take this board out and that board out, and then that horizontal one. So what I did was I measured from this end over, get this thing to focus again, and I marked on here, this is where the 40 breeder is going to stop. Actually stops a little shy of that line. This is where the 30 is going to stop, shy of this line. So I have this much space to put some kind of support in here that is permanent. So I will probably put one in here that sits on the front and screw it into this one and the bottom one. Very similar to what I have done here. And the other one, just to make sure, I believe I'm going to notch one out that sits the other direction, that sits here. I will have to notch around this board, although I cannot screw it into it because that board's got to come out, and then I can notch onto that, and that'll give me a support underneath all the way up, and it'll also give me a support in the front. Once I get that done, I will have to take both of these tanks out, get some buckets, put the fish in them, completely disassemble them, and remove them from this stand. I might do that first, that way that's done. I know I can't remove this one until this board comes out, this board right here. This one could be removed now, which is what I'll do first. But once I get those tanks out of the way and I get these two middle supports in, then I'll have to cut this thing, but I will take this board completely out. I will also take out that one, all these cross members have to come out all the way across. Now technically that end one, this one there, probably could stay. We'll have to wait and see on that. But these have to come out, because if they don't come out, I don't have room for the aquarium in there. Once I get done with that, I will build supports that come from this board up to the level I want it at, on all corners and also in the middle, so that when I put this board in and that board in, it has something to sit on. And it's going to be exactly like what I did here. This board is supported by a board that goes all the way to the floor, so the weight of this tank is on the floor all the way around. So I'll keep making videos as I do this. It is Saturday. It's going to take all day. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to make sure I get this front part supported before I start taking that stuff out of the middle, because it is going to have to be supported well in order to not come down. So anyway, I'll keep adding to this as I go. Okay, I've started draining the water out of this. This one with a U on it is my siphon. It goes across the room, actually goes through the wall and into my shop thing, and I'm siphoning it out. Being on the ground, it won't siphon all the way, but I'll get what I can. And also I have a small pump in this one that's going into this tank here. These are the sponge filters from that aquarium. I hook them up to my air system and I will turn them on so that I have, because they're going to be in there for a while. And then what I need to do is remove everything from that tank, remove the fish, put them in this one over here as a holding tank, and then drain the rest of the water and completely move that tank out of here, get it in the shop, clean it up, and have it ready to put on the new rack. So I probably have just about enough water in this one right here, so I will keep moving forward and add more to this later. Okay, I got one board at 53 inches, which will be the facing board, and this is the one that gets notched in on the top. I made this wider so that I can pull that board out, because that board going this way has got to come out. and then this should be snug to fit. And I've showed how I do this before by setting this in the table saw, using a chisel and a hammer, and I have my table saw set at 1.5 inches, which is the thickness of a 2x4. So I will go ahead and get this board cut, and when I get these two in there for support, I should be able to start taking that other section down. Okay, I got this one cut, put it in there, screwed it in. It has a gap there that's not screwed in, and screwed in down there and leveled. That one will probably stay there, and that helps to support that weight. I also temporarily put this one on there. It'll have to be moved to get that tank out, but that gives me two major supports in the middle to hold this end up while I take these boards out. This one here is going to come out easy. I can get to the screws. This one here I will have to cut out because I can't get to the screws, but I need both of those out of there so that I can start taking out this level and moving it. Once I get the level out, I'm going to have to re-support this on the other side with another one of these, take this one down to get that tank out. So I'll just keep moving forward on this. It's taking some time, but I just need to move very slowly and careful. It's because I do not want this to come crashing down. Okay, I have all the cross pieces out. I had to cut these in here because these boards were in the way. But now I can get this one completely out of the way. I will probably use a new board when I put that back together because this has a lot of holes in it. And I have a lot of screws sticking out here from where I pried those out. I can take vice grips and bend them a couple times and they'll break off. So I'll remove those. This board stays. Not sure about this one. I need to do some measuring. But what I'm going to do now is take these off, and once I get those off, I need to figure out my level of where this middle rack is going to go. I will then cut a new one of these, put it on this side to support, probably right here. So we're closest to the middle as we can get. Then I can take that one out so I can remove this tank. Once I get the tank out, then it's a matter of figuring out where to put the level so that I can move this one down and remove and not have tanks on the floor anymore. So that's the plan. It's coming along kind of slow, but it takes time. Okay, I have removed the board that was right here and put another one on that side. So there's my support. That will hold that middle while I build this thing. It is notched underneath on there in the bottom. What I'm going to do, instead of having this board sit out, there's enough room, I'm going to slide it in. So that is going to be the height of my level. There will be a board on top of it, and it'll sit this way right on top. And I have enough distance to make it to there, and I can leave both of these in for support on the edges while I do this. So the next step I need to do is I need to start removing this tank. Get this out of the way. I have a second aquarium right here that I will siphon water from that tank into this one. Put a few plastic plants or something for decorations and start removing all of the rocks. I will use the sponge filters that are in there. I will put them in this tank and tie them in with my air system and do like I did over here. That way everything's fine no matter how long I take. So that's the next step, is to get this tank out of here. Okay. What I'm going to do is I've cut this board to length so that it fits between there, and that board, focus in, is level across with that board. So I will use my level, bring this over, put this thing exactly on level and draw a line underneath of it. Then I can cut a board from there down, level it this way, and everything will be square. The next thing I need to do is, I believe I'm going to have the front of the tank sit right inside this board so I can keep this one in here for support, because I do have enough room. And of course I'll have to put some cross pieces in there too. And I need to measure it so that my 30 or my 29 gallon fits there and my 40 breeder fits here, and I can leave this support in here. But this is going to lower this enough that this will give me a lot more clearance for reaching into the tank. So I'll get this in here and then I'll put more in later. Okay, I cut my two boards. I have my supports underneath on the ends. I'm going to put a support in the middle there and up in the middle there. This is level, and so is that one. So all I need to do now is measure from the front of this one to the back of that one for the width of my tank. And that's where I will put those, and then I can set my 40 breeder on this side, set my 29 on that side, and I'll probably put a couple cross braces in. You don't really need them, but I feel more comfortable if they're in there. And I can use this underneath for storage. I'll probably put plywood or something on it. I kind of want to leave all this here for support, and I will be able to leave this, I believe I can leave this entire support here in, which would be kind of nice. I might replace this upright board with one that doesn't have a notch in it. We'll see. So everything's moving along forward, and hopefully this will be nice when I'm done. Okay, I have my supports in here, and here, and I also screwed that to that one. So this is the proper width from here to here for a 40 breeder, but my 29 is too wide. It needs to be 12 and a half. So I'm going to get some supports in there, and then we'll add more to this. Okay, I got everything moved, and I'm ready to put styrofoam on and put the tanks in. What I ended up doing was cutting another one of these for support up under here in the middle, going all the way down. I left the other one there and screwed those together, so that gives me some really good support in the middle. The 29 gallon has uprights in the back corners and is screwed to this long board here, which is supported in 3 places all the way along here, and the back one is the same way. On the 40 breeder, that is the distance I need, and I did put some cross supports in there. So now all I need to do is put some styrofoam on this square, and then some styrofoam on that one, and then I can start putting my tanks in there and getting everything back together. I might end up getting some plywood to put down on the bottom here to cover up those boards. Do the same on that one over there, either that or face the front of it so it looks a little nicer, but that's for another day. So I'm going to get some styrofoam cut and put my tanks in there, and everything's working out just great. Okay, I am done. I was able to remove the tanks from the bottom, remove the middle shelf and lower it about 9 inches, and then put the tanks back up without taking the stand down and without having to remove those 2 on top. I'm going to leave these 2 supports in here. This tank here still needs to clear up a little bit. This one's doing quite well. Yeah, so I like it. Everything turned out really well, gets them up off the floor, and that is the basic theme for everything in here. Getting those off the floor, reducing the number of tanks, and basically going with a little bit bigger ones. So the only thing I have to do now, and I'm not in a big hurry to do this, is I will probably get me a 125 to put up top, and then I will keep this 40 breeder and that 37 tall, and they will go down on the bottom, but it will also be lifted up so that there is nothing down on the floor. So anyway, it's turned out good. I'm pleased with it. Everything's level, everything's square, and all the fish are doing very well. So that concludes this little project.